Hey, everybody.
Hey,
We were going to do the Ohio Board of Pharmacy this morning if they had it live, but it got postponed or canceled,
canceled. Yep.
which is very good news.
Teamwork makes the dream work. You guys, people sit back and think that, oh, you're just, nothing's going to happen when you make phone calls or, send emails. Nothing's going to happen. But hey, I rolled out of bed at 6 a.m. this morning to get ready for this live stream that we were going to do for the Ohio Board of Pharmacy. And lo and behold, as I'm setting it up, it got canceled.
I mean, that's crazy.
It is. It truly is.
Sorry, we're just sharing.
Share the live, share the vibe. So we decided we're going to live stream another guy who's a doctor. Okay, I remember him. Well, okay, there's so many freaking things that I could say about this doctor. I'm not going to give any details. But years ago, this doctor did a live stream with Matt Caddo. And that was interesting to say the least. So, what I mean by that is I haven't watched this one, but if I remember him correctly, he's going to love to hear himself talk.
Most people do that think they know everything.
Hey, you should put the chill music on.
Oh, always forget about that. Now let's put some chill.
While we wait till people gather around, gather around. Hey, Craig.
Hey, Craig. This ain't that bad. Oh wow, it's like in both of my speakers on my headset. I thought it was my phone.
What, the chill music?
Yeah. I was like, did I not turn it down? Dude, I'm just glad that, everybody everybody who sent off your story and emailed to the Ohio Board of Pharmacy called. I mean, that shit does matter. It does matter.
You made the damn difference. And yesterday, I was pumping out videos left and right, reminding everybody, remind. When something of urgency like that pops off, I will just ain't no stopping me. Because of kratom, I can.
Oops. All right. Here, wave at the camera. We're live. Come hang out. Link in bio.
Oh, you doing a TikTok?
Link in bio.
I'll just duet the video from you. Cause I don't have it in my do I?
What, your bio?
My YouTube channel? Oh, I do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. Let me see.
Yeah, it shows the little
I didn't tag you. How can I do it? Can I like
edit after the fact?
Yeah.
Or just tag me in the comments. But yeah, you can edit after the fact. Man, the amount of people that got tricked into believing 7OH was kratom is just astronomically insane on the comments that I get.
Yeah, it's sad.
And once again, I'm going to say I don't agree with the Schedule 1 banning of semi-synthetic 7OH. I've never agreed to that.
Yeah.
I don't support that. You know, Schedule 1 is way, way, way too harsh. So don't you fucking put words in my mouth and say that, you know, I've always been vocal about not being a prohibitionist. All I've been doing for this well over a year is warning people that 7OH is not kratom. Stop conflating the two because it's not one and the same.
No, it's not. It's a very different beast.
Yeah.
Okay. I just hate it sucks to hear people struggling with it because they walked into a smoke shop and they're like, oh, this is just a pure form of kratom. Like I said, like I don't know how I would be so fucked because how much easier is it to take a pill than it is to figure out which kratom works for you and all that. Yeah. I'm just glad it wasn't out and I didn't walk into a smoke shop and be like, hey.
I know. Like when I walked into the smoke shop in 2019 and, you know, got my kratom. I'm just glad that wasn't the first thing they were like, yeah, here's a more potent form.
Yeah, I agree. It's never too late.
Oh, God, dude. We get so much backlash.
Yeah, a lot. Oh, man. I hate my favorite's like, joke's on you. It turns into 7OH in your liver. And it's like, yeah, but it's not turning into hundreds of milligrams of 7OH.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, I know, huh? Hey, what's up, Mike? I know.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of repercussions from.
But is it even made from the powder itself? Like, is it even still made from the metragenine extract? That's what I want to know. I want to know if they finally figured out a way to mimic it.
Get back to normal. I'm going to stop taking it because I discovered I'm going to hydrate. Yeah, I've heard it almost like taps out your receptors.
Yeah. Well, I heard fried. I
Yeah.
heard fried.
Hey, Jen, with two
Jen,
N's.
what's up? How you like that Ohio Board of Pharmacy cancellation this morning?
Hey.
Eh?
Yeah.
Similar to Sudafed limiting because of meth manufacturing. I know. But like I said, I wonder if they, maybe it, I don't know. I would love to see the manufacturing process in the facilities that are making the 708.
Yeah, in the mass producing facilities, not in somebody's fucking bedroom.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
I would love to see that. But I don't know. It just makes you wonder, because if they say that there's been over 500 million doses of 708 that's been sold, you would think that would cause deforestation,
Yeah.
like massive swaths of kratom trees just missing. Yeah, the MGM is total different. The MGM would be the full-on synthetic. Because the way I've understand it, and the way it's been explained to me is that, 7-OH is from a metragenine extract, blah, blah, blah. And then pseudodoxil is from a 7-OH extract. Where MGM? I don't know. I think that's full-on synthetic.
Yeah.
I know, Jen. Right? It's not the plant. I'm not for prohibition, but I'm big on the natural intelligence of plants. Yeah. When you molest the molecules like that, it is so far removed from the plant. It's like, what, like second and third, fourth cousins, like in a family tree or something like that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you're also adding, those extra chemicals on.
Yeah.
It. So it's like it's not the same. Like, you can't say it's the same. And if you say it's the same, I don't understand how you can't comprehend that it's not the same.
I don't know, but I get so sick of those motherfuckers telling me that I'm advocating for a ban. I have never advocated for a ban. It's not my fault that your product was mass produced and made market entry in 2023 without scientific data. It's not my fault.
Riding the coattails
of kratom.
Yep.
I was thinking last night. I was thinking that the way I view 7-OH would be like a home wrecking side chick that's got a BBL. She's got fake tits, got lip fillers in, messing up the whole kratom family.
And then when you've had, like, when you've really spent a lot of time with her, you get tired of her real quick, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna walk away from this situation
before I get her pregnant.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. That came to me last night. Freaking side chick, man, riding the coattails of the glorious kratom name. Hey, MJ. Is Ohio truly canceled, or have they postponed the ban for a near future date? We don't know yet. We just know it got canceled this morning. I've been up since 6 a.m. my time. And then as I'm setting up the live stream, because Jen and I were going to live stream it this morning. And as I was setting it up, freaking got the notification that it was postponed.
Yeah, it was like the last second.
And I was like, well, shit, when I'm up. So, when I go to bed tonight, I'm going to be tired as hell. I'm already tired, but, I only got 3 hours of sleep. But this is what I do for advocacy,
Yeah.
I make time.
Dell loves music, man. All right. Get in the middle of that, all right. So we got Mr. B up here.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. B.
He's a notoriously Suboxone prescribing doctor.
All right, I better turn off this music.
Yeah, so we're gonna sit here and watch. We have what is called. You're the chick? Are you the wildflower candles and skincare? Are you the chick who testified in Ohio? Are you the one that said that you were with the doctor-patient forum? I think you are.
I'm just glad. I'm glad that it didn't happen today.
But yeah, I'm waiting for that person to answer. I'm pretty sure it might be her. And I think you commented on my TikToks last night, and I tagged you because we watched the Toledo, Ohio hearing live, Laura Romney and I. And you were there with Dr. Heidi. And I screen recorded each individual testimony, and I believe that was you. And so if you're the same person, I tagged you on my TikTok video, where you freaking making us tear up.
Yeah. There was a lot of amazing testimonies in Ohio. God, it's so quiet. So quiet when I turn it off. Hold on.
Have you listened to Tall Cop? I can't stand that dude. Says Stop Podcast. He made a 708 pod, and he'll be doing a feel free one soon. He talks a lot of shit despite being semi-open minded. Well, he's another one of those like not a recovery guru, but he's one of these like gurus, for the community. And when we used to watch the Louisiana, the small parish hearings that were going on, these chicks would walk in there with pamphlets that went to a Tall Cop says stop, meeting. So he's been on Kratom's warpath for years.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he lives in $1 million homes.
But that's what I've always told my kids, like, just because somebody acts like they know what they're talking about, because of how they sound, just because their name's a doctor, just because they have a book that says the facts, like, always research stuff yourself. Don't just believe everything.
I think, says. And I think he's like a former sheriff or former cop or something like that. But, I remember years ago, Mac was trying to get a meeting with him, let's do a Zoom or something, know, and he just keeps talking or what's it called? Ducking and dodging Mac. So, but yeah, I mean, you would think somebody as influential as him, that he would want to get the facts right, get the drug trends correct.
Right. I have a lot of respect for people that actually open up and like learn, and especially when they're legislative people, like that's huge.
It's like set your pride aside,
Yeah.
Learn how to learn. Like I do the same thing, if I mess up, I will stand corrected.
I mean, none of us know everything.
No. And never claim to have it, either. I know my firsthand experience though.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't listened to nothing he said recently.
Oh, I think I had enough of that dude since Louisiana.
Oh my God. Sitting there watching those, I'm telling you, those freaking chicks walk up in there with the little pamphlet, say, we attended this seminar.
Oh.
And this is what he says.
Dude, if I had money, I would just hire an army of people just to go everywhere and just hand out pamphlets and pay people to like sit through an hour seminar about education on kratom. We'll buy you lunch.
That freaking I don't know if Jen Mercier is still here, but that educational seminar that her and Laura Romney and Dr. Heidi and John Shinholzer, that thing, it is so amazing to sit through and watch that. It is so freaking amazing.
It's a beautiful thing. You know, it's a beautiful thing to see that.
It would be cool if we could just all get together one day and just do a huge video.
Yeah.
And you know, produce that as the educational stuff. That would be so cool. I mean, we could be sitting there holding up actual props and shit, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, one day when I hit the lotto that I never play except for Friday the 13th. And I only win like $4 damn. Maybe one day, you know. Oh, all right, let's go for it. Let's go for it.
All right, let's do it.
The kratom debate, 7-hydroxy-OH, 7-hydroxymytrogynin debate, 7-OH debate, mitrogynin.
Debate?
Today, I'm going to put all of your mysterious questions to rest once and for all and show you there's no debate, no mysteries, no questions. It's clear as daylight. And what you have out there is propaganda, marketing, and magical thinking. I'm Dr. B, Dr. B360. Several years ago, I made probably one of the first kratom videos, and there's 2 or 3 of them in the link below that seem to have helped a lot of people. And this discussion is long overdue, and I've been asked about it many, many times. Nicole's been urging me to make this video. So let's get started.
Nicole? I wonder.
Let's get started with a brief recap
Craig.
of old stuff. If you really want to know this stuff, those videos still hold true in the link below. But just
you want to put like a 1.25?
Stuff is.
I was thinking like maybe we should.
It's indigenous to Southeast Asia. Its technical name is Mitrogyna speciosa. Thailand, Malaysia. It's traditionally used by natives for a long time, laborers, farmers, to fight fatigue, boost energy. It has a stimulant effect at a particular dose, which I'll clarify soon, for endurance. And also it's been traditionally used in different cultures, tribes, indigenous regions for traditional medicinal reasons, pain, diarrhea, coughs, which is what opiates do. And yes, it is used to manage opium withdrawals. Okay. This doesn't make it okay to use in our environment for opium withdrawals. Okay, and the way that natives usually use it, you know, they will chew fresh leaves, they will crush it into teas and take it that way, and even into paste and swallow it. Okay, just a little brief background. You know, I want to start off before we discuss to really understand 7-OH, 7-OH mitrogynin versus mitrogynin, which is the way you think of kratom in general traditionally. I want to make sure you understand what those things are in a structured scientific thinking kind of a way. Okay, when you have a plant or something like that, and that plant has something that affects either the mind or the body, there's a class of compounds called alkaloids, and they're nitrogen based. None of that matters, but know that, you know, technically there's a class of compounds that are called alkaloids.
Oh boy.
And these plants that have either psychoactive effect or effect on the body, in our case, we're interested in plants with components that have psychoactive effects. Those are alkaloids. They always have a nitrogen.
Hold on.
And in the kratom plant, okay, they've always thought of that alkaloid as mitrogynin, right? As it turns out, there's also what's called 7-hydroxy, which is, you know, on
there's
the
like
7th
50.
carbon, it has an alcohol group. That is another alkaloid in that plant. And what's important is when you look at these things, you know, I put a couple of other examples for you here. In the opium poppy, morphine is one of the alkaloids. There's other alkaloids, some of them thebaine and so forth. And when you have multiple alkaloids, they get discovered at different times. But each alkaloid will have potentially, I'm giving you a spectrum. When you go to the kratom plant, two major alkaloids that are psychoactive are mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine, which everyone calls 7-OH. When you look at something like that, there's other questions. How much of each alkaloid is there in the plant? If you took a leaf, how much of that, the composition of that, is routinely and consistently in that plant? Next question you want to ask about each alkaloid
Yeah,
in the plant.
Frankensteining
There's
it.
more than one, and there usually is. If you look at opium, that's the way it is. And there's many examples. I'm just making this very simple. The other question is how much of that alkaloid is there? And each alkaloid may have different degrees of potency at the receptor of concern. Okay. And so in the mitragynine kratom leaf, it has two alkaloids that are psychoactive. There may be more. It's irrelevant right now. And that we know of. And one of them is mitragynine, and the other one is 7-OH. And each one has a certain amount in a particular piece of leaf. So you would say, most of the alkaloid is going to be, and here's the truth, in this case, with the kratom plant, it's mainly mitragynine, and I think less than 0.6% of it is 7-OH. And I have a slide that I made that shows that. But before that, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about alkaloids here. You can think of it as nature's brain active chemicals. And it's not just the brain, it's the body, but that's what we're interested in is psychoactive alkaloids, okay? Alkaloids are plant chemicals that change the brain or body, okay? And some examples that you already
If this
know
is
of
too fast,
caffeine,
let me
nicotine,
know.
morphine, cocaine, and the kratom alkaloids.
I put
good
it
for me.
1.5.
7-OH
All this stuff is
and,
kind of just like really boring.
mitragynine, right? I think that's what people call it out there, 7-OH, but it's 7-hydroxymitragynine. And they have different effects. Okay, so when you take the plant, there will be different amounts of each alkaloid in there because there's usually more than one, and each one, regardless of how much of that alkaloid is in the plant, each one per ounce, per microgram, per milligram, however you're measuring it, may have different potency. So again, let's go to kratom. Okay, the kratom plant. You take a piece of leaf. There's a certain amount of mitragynine in there, and as it turns out, there's a certain amount of 7-OH mitragynine in there. There's different amounts and there's different potencies. Not always, but let's just focus on the kratom plant.
Proceed with caution, Rich.
I put this here because when it tells you a lot. So, I made this, and, mitragynine, which is the main ingredient in the plant leaf, it's actually 60 to 70% of the alkaloid makeup in the kratom leaf. Okay. And when you take the mitragynine, whether it's processed or not, as it turns out, at higher doses, 50 milligrams or higher, it starts to be a mu opiate agonist, right? And it's that's where you get the opiate-like properties. And at lower doses, right, it turns out to be have stimulant effects. Okay, so that's one thing. When you just take,
I swear to God, I hear that shit like 15 million times a day.
Of it, it's gonna, at the higher doses, it's gonna affect the mu opiate receptors, and it's actually relatively weak. You can take. That's why people generally would have to take large amounts in grams, even with the processed stuff you buy in the West. And yes, it's processed. Okay?
It would be safer.
Yeah, for sure.
At the low doses, if you're using the plant, it's going to have stimulant properties and stimulant-like effects. And we won't get into the pharmacology of that, but we'll leave it at that. And as it turns out, like I said, mitragynine, which is, the traditional kind of thought of when you take the plant, or even the stuff that used to be in the West, that's 60 to 70% of the alkaloid in kratom. Okay. What happens actually to get that mu opiate receptor activity is that mitragynine gets processed by the liver and is converted into the 7-OH form. Okay.
That's
so
natural, Ray.
Your body takes mitragynine, processes it in the liver, and you get that 7-OH. In addition, the traditional plant, which is 60 to 70% mitragynine, which that gets processed in your body, turns after the liver run through into 7-OH. There's also the very, very small amount of 7-OH in the plant itself. Okay. what we know now or think now is that, that opiate-like effect, even if you were taking the mitragynine, is because after it gets processed in the liver and turns into 7-OH, that's how even the traditional opiate-like effect, pain, analgesic effect was happening. It's driven by mitragynine being processed. If you took just the mitragynine molecule versus the 7-OH mitragynine molecule, you would see that, mitragynine by itself is actually a partial mu opiate agonist, and it's relatively weak, but 7-OH, if you took, and you took the equal amounts, this stuff is much shorter acting and much stronger activity at the opiate receptor. Okay. That chart actually shows you don't need to understand, the details of it, but what it shows you is the potency, where the 7-OH compound has potency. As it turns out, it's somewhere between 10 to 20 times stronger than morphine in its potency. As far as this chart goes, just understand
That's when it's isolated by itself, homie.
What you're seeing is a potency that is way,
and it's the binding affinity
close to morphine. And I say up there, but the way this chart works, it's backwards. Don't worry about it. What's important for you is to compare mitragynine, right, with 7-OH and morphine in terms of opiate receptor potency. And this slide actually kind of brings that out. If you took mitragynine by itself, right, when it's taken, it's much less potent than morphine, right? And it gets its analgesic activity after it's processed by the liver, and there's small amounts of it that turn into 7-OH. Okay, now if you just took plain old 7-OH, it's I would say some studies have speculated.
You got that right, brother.
Keep in mind this stuff is being sold at a gas station, right? Let's see what else is important here.
Freaking correct.
For what it's worth, the mitragynine is actually a partial agonist at the mu receptor, whereas the 7-OH mitragynine is a strong partial agonist at the mu receptor. And some of this I'm going to use for a class of graduate students, so it's not important here. But what's important is that
you teach graduate students.
60 to 70% of the alkaloids are actually mitragynine, and there's just trace amounts of 7-OH. And 7-OH, interestingly, if you took enough of that, there is no place where it has stimulant activity.
No, I said proceed with caution.
If you had it, what's happening in the body before you were getting this sort of pure sort of 7-OH, which we'll get into.
See me in the
kratom with the mitragynine with this stuff, and whatever amount is there after it gets
the binding affinity is stronger than morphine.
7-OH byproduct, and that's where the analgesic opiate effect comes, and it's in very small amounts. By itself, it only has opiate activity as far as we know, whereas the mitragynine, also at low doses by itself, can have stimulant activity. And by the way, this is why the patients I had from years ago, and when I see people out there, they have to take large doses, 15, 20, 30 grams, because you were trying to get this thing to kick up its activity, right? And as I said, it's got minimal stimulant effect. This has noticeable at low doses, and this is a short half-life. Keep in mind, anything that has a short half-life has theoretically a much higher abuse and addiction potential, and that is important to know in all substance of abuse. So we can look at this, 7-OH, which is metabolized after the mitragynine is processed by the liver, is the thing that's generally responsible for the opiate-like effects, analgesic effects, whatever you want to call it, in the body, and not the mitragynine itself. Mitragynine, when you are taking the mitragynine, it's milder, obviously, it's longer acting in general, and it has the stimulant effect at the lower doses. And it's that conversion by the liver into 7-OH mitragynine that is the driving factor for the mu opiate receptor activity in terms of anything that is clinically apparent. Okay, all right. So that's that part of it. And what you have nowadays is the 7-OH product. Okay, and keep in mind this stuff is I just told you, it's potency at the receptor somewhere between 10 to 20 times possibly stronger than morphine, and you have this stuff being sold looking like this, pet shops. I think it's at gas stations now, gummy bears, and look at these colors. They're very appealing and almost like candy. Let's just note that. Okay, this whole discussion about natural versus not natural, what's going on
the binding
here,
affinity is stronger binding affinity than morphine.
Actually, let's come back to this. Okay, let's take a quick look at this. We'll come back to it. These discussions about natural versus not natural,
but it does cause
industrialized commercial.
It does suppress breathing.
Sort of misunderstood nonsense. But let's take a starting point.
Oh yeah, and Dr. McCurdy's
the 7-OH. Okay?
Yeah.
in its truly
In
natural
rats.
form,
In
the way
rats.
that
We don't
kratom
know about humans.
in general has been marketed over
Humans.
the last several years. You know, it's found in a kratom leaf, okay, and it's trace amounts.
And yeah,
Very
I
trace
also
amount.
agree. It shouldn't be
And if you even
for
realize,
people that have never
and I'm not
taken
talking about
kratom,
mitragynine being
and of course
converted to
kids.
7-OH, I'm talking about 7-OH by
I
itself.
know,
in a
Leisha.
Yes,
plant, it's
Leisha.
less than
Look who
0.5
we're
to
watching.
1%, okay? You can't extract that amount and be able to use it for large scale mass production, right? That supply is not enough to make millions and hundreds of millions of dollars off of.
It sounds
So
like he's quoting
what
Dr.
happens
McCurdy.
is there's a commercial process of extraction, right? And what you do is, if you have a certain amount of mitragynine, you are able to chemically, in an industrial setting, do a chemical reaction
Yeah.
that turns that into 7-OH. You're not getting any more 7-OH.
Oh, baby,
out
I
of the
know all
amount
about
of
alcohol.
mitragynine
Been
that
down
you
that
have.
road.
I
You're
can
just
tell you're new
able to
here.
rapidly
Yeah.
and using chemical science to
Yes, kratom has
convert
saved
that
many
supply
lives.
into 7-OH.
And kratom
here
and
it says
7-OH that we're talking about, the
it is
7-OH
now a
products on the market
semi-synthetic
are not the
product.
same.
That's not really
No.
true, right? I put that up there just to remind myself. You know, a semi-synthetic product is something like heroin, which is
But the difference is in alcohol is regulated. So it goes through a process and it's made the same way. You know, there's no, you know, that's why, you know, during Prohibition, people were making their fucking bathtubs, people were dying, you know, and whatnot. And so, I mean, you know, 7-OH is not, it's being marketed as kratom. Again, you must be new here. But we do not support bans.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're just here to educate, navigate.
diacetyl morphine. You are changing
Oh no, I think it's set back.
chemistry of the chemical found in nature. There is no heroin in nature. You're taking morphine and converting it to heroin, which is not a natural event, but it takes, well, it's called semi-synthetic because you're still using that base morphine molecule and making some changes, so it's semi-synthetic, okay? But with 7-OH, that's not really what I would call this. All you're doing is you've created a method to rapidly turn mitragynine into a product that it naturally turns into anyway, but now you are doing it so a lot more of that product that you have turns into that, okay? So 7-OH is natural, and commercial 7-OH comes from chemically converting a lot more of mitragynine into.
I mean, he getting this part right.
And that's
I was about to say, this is like
put
the,
this here because
the only
to a
things
group of
I
other
kind of
students, I
agree
wanted
with
to
it.
I
point
give you
that out.
props for
But
that,
it's
Dr.
important
B.
here as this debate continues
That's
and
cool. Thanks
almost
for coming.
changes
Yeah,
by
thanks,
the
Rich.
day as the industry needs that discussion and public perception to change to be able to push this stuff. So if you're going to call the original stuff mitragynine natural, you're going to have to call 7-OH natural. But neither one is really, in some senses, natural anyway, because they're going through chemical processing, industrial processing. But for those that are arguing these things,
Wait,
and you'll see what I mean here. Essentially, what you're doing is increasing the amount of 7-OH that you get out of that batch of.
I can't imagine
mitragynine
watching
that
this
you
on
have,
normal
okay?
speed.
See what we got here. And I'm going to make a comparison here, right? When you take the traditional plant, okay, that's natural. It has a whole bunch of other plant material in it, okay? And, you know, we probably don't know what all of those materials
I know he
are.
wasn't in the
And when you
past.
take it, there's trace amounts of, you know, 7-OH in there, and the mitragynine that's in there naturally in your body through the liver converts to 7-OH, and that's going to be a small amount. And that is what the indigenous folks and natives would use. That's natural.
Oh yeah, this is
it might be the
like
coca plant. It might be gat, which I didn't put up here, and it might be opium, whatever those psychotropic effects of the natural alkaloids are. So commercially, you have two choices, right? The early traditional thing that was being put out there is, you know, you take the kratom leaves, and what you do chemically is
isolate
a
it.
process that converts or really increases the concentration per amount that you have of the natural kratom or natural mitragynine alkaloid, right? So it's concentrating it. Right? You know, there's a chemical process.
You still don't get all the
pill,
alkaloids,
powder, whatever they
though.
did with it.
Right.
That's put out to the public. You still need quite a bit, but it's much more concentrated. But that is a chemical process that gives you concentration. With the 7-OH, it's also a chemical process, okay? And again, these are just actually where it says not purely natural. That's not true, because it's about as natural as the early commercial extracts or the way it was sold previously. It's just a little bit of a different chemical process. It's not trying to concentrate the mitragynine so you don't have to take in a whole bunch of batches. It's actually focusing on the small concentration of 7-OH that's in there. Okay, maybe it isolates that, which is no big deal.
Wait.
But it takes a lot of that mitragynine and converts it to 7-OH. That's not semi-synthetic. You know, it's just a chemical reaction that you get more yield out of the product of conversion, which actually happens.
I guess,
naturally.
like they saying it, going about it
If
the
that
wrong
conversion
way.
wasn't happening in nature of turning mitragynine into 7-OH, then it would be semi-synthetic, like heroin, because it's adding an OH group at the 7 carbon, and I would call that semi-synthetic, because that doesn't exist in nature in the same way that heroin doesn't exist in nature. You take the morphine, which does exist in nature, you add 2 acetyl groups. Now it's
I get what he's
morphine,
saying. I get what he's saying.
and
I
that
agree.
is semi-synthetic. You have something that's natural, the morphine,
Yeah.
and then you add
The 7-OH sealants
some
do
molecules
not agree.
to it, and
So-
it makes it a heroin.
I'd rather say
But that's not what's going on here.
semi-synthetic,
Okay?
just because
It's just
of
2
the
different
fucking
chemical processes
definition.
between what was being sold before as kratom, and that chemical process was concentrating the kratom so you don't have to take down a tree in your stomach to get the effects. And this chemical process converts one product to another that was already happening in nature, in your liver, but in small trace amounts. This is important, I believe, because these discussions now have turned into, well, 7-OH is natural, the other kratom stuff is natural, so it's not 7-OH is the kratom industry or 7-OH industry cheated us. No, it's all the same. You can't change your language how you like and description of things already set in the real world in science and call it different things. My position on this whole issue has not changed, but there's something here that it shows. It shows why. When people say things like, "Oh, you're a slave of the pharmaceutical industry to make money." I don't make money from the pharmaceutical industry.
That's a
If
lie.
I worked for these
Come
guys,
on,
I'd make a
dude.
lot of money. But they're all after the same thing: huge profits, and they will say anything. And
Bro,
they will
if you
take
prescribe
something that is already a
Suboxone, you
problem
make
to
money
regular
from the
kratom or the
pharmaceutical
head shop
industry,
and turn it into
period.
something that is that much more powerful than
Or anything. If
morphine
you prescribe
and
any
addicting
drug.
and abuse potential and sell it at a head shop. I'll go with the pharmaceutical industry. And again, the history of the use of this alkaloid, is basically traditionally used leaves and whatever effect that has. Again, lower doses, it has a stimulant effect, which we won't get into. Higher doses, you get that conversion of 7-OH, which gives you that analgesic or opiate effect, and it would be mixed in tea, crushed, or whatever. Whereas the modern 7-OH stuff, again, it's not semi-synthetic. It is no less or more natural than the processing of traditional kratom, except it's a different processing. But you still are not creating a new molecule, which would be fully synthetic because it looks completely different than the original product. Whereas if you're adding something to the original product, it would be called semi-synthetic. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, he's still on this? On the semi.
Again, the chemical processing
Next.
here, you got the raw leaf versus the processed product, right? You got in the raw leaf, you got the mitragynine product present in large amounts, and when it gets ingested, there's an absolute weight to the mitragynine in a leaf, and that is what you get, and it gets processed in your body and gets turned into 7-OH with a certain degree of psychotropic effect. And in that same leaf, you have trace
Dude,
amounts.
if he was
of
my,
the
I mean, I ain't
7-OH
trying to talk
already,
shit, but some
and
people are
it's a
just
very
good
tiny amount,
teachers.
okay? And
You
with
know,
the mitragynine,
I mean, I'm
you
not
also
saying
get
he's
a
a
little bit
bad
more because
teacher. I'm
the
not trying to talk.
byproduct of liver
I'm just
processing
saying.
yields some 7-OH. That is where you get
There's a
the
lot of other bad.
analgesic opiate effect. and you
Much
need
better
large
people
amounts,
that
right?
could
With
explain
modern
this.
chemistry and industrial
I
processing,
think he doesn't
there's
fully
a process, whether we talk about
understand
mitragynine or
the ins
7-OH,
and outs
and
of
that
it.
process is, it
Yeah, like he
removes the
did a
bulk of
crash
the other
seminar
plant
on
Right, yeah,
material.
himself.
It gives you a
yeah.
higher density of the mitragynine. It gives you a
I
higher
told you he loves to
concentration
talk.
than the mitragynine for the amount of plant product, if you will, that you have. But the actual amount of the active mitragynine product doesn't change. What you do is concentrate it, and so it's easier to take a higher dose, but it's still chemical processing. With the 7-hydroxy, what you have again, as I explained here, when you're just taking a regular plant, there's a trace amount, and then there's whatever is converted in your body and delivered to 7-OH, which gives you the opiate-like effect, but it's still not much. And what they did after this original extraction procedure is process and use the chemical process to convert a large amount of that into 7-OH product. And now what you have is a lot more 7-OH in the product that you had up here, just pure 7-OH.
That's
I'm
sweet.
hoping this
Thank
makes sense.
you.
Now you can take a small amount.
He probably
It's
does.
really
I
simply
mean,
like
he went to fucking
in terms of
school.
potency, it's comparing fentanyl to heroin, right? Fentanyl is a lot more potent, which means you just need a lot less. The analogy is good in explaining that
But
part
he
of it.
doesn't
So
know
you get
more
the
about
stronger effect,
kratom.
and you don't,
I can guarantee you that.
in that same pill, because there's a lot more 7-OH already ready to go, and it's not going to get converted by the liver to 7-OH. It already
Are
is
you being
7-OH.
a
So it already does what
smartass?
it does at the central nervous system level. Just a little bit of chemistry to ground you here. There's no intention of confusing this. This is morphine and this is diacetylmorphine, which is heroin, right? It's still morphine. In nature, you don't find this product, right? This is chemically added to here to a product that is found in nature, and it's called semi-synthetic, right? Because half of it comes from nature, and the other parts of it that are not found in nature are purely a product of industrial chemical ingenuity and engineering. Okay. Now, if you have something like methadone, that product is nowhere to be found in nature. It may look similar to this in some ways, but it's not in nature, so it's fully synthetic. This is semi-synthetic, okay? But if you look at this mitragynine thing, mitragynine is already in nature, right? And so is 7-hydroxy mitragynine, okay? It's critical to really understand that. And it's the OH group is right here on what will be called, I guess, the 7-carbon. And since these are both found in nature, you don't get to call this, now that you don't like the outcomes of the 7-hydroxy, addiction outcomes in society, and say, well, this is not mitragynine or kratom. No, this is kratom, and this is also found in nature. Before, what we used to do is, you give me a
That's in the past.
leaves, and what I would do is
it ain't funny no more.
processes with this kratom leaf to increase the density per gram, milligram, microgram, whatever, and so I could get it packed all into a pill. Then and eventually this would be converted to this in your body anyway. And there's also some of this already in that pill. Well, then I found a new chemical process where I get huge yields of this from chemical processing, and neither one of those things make one or the other less part of the kratom plant, or more natural or less natural. It is what it is. It's industrial processing, which in general, I wouldn't call that.
But when you're adding chemicals,
right?
I would have to say that's a big difference.
Language,
yeah, huge difference.
Scientific language, okay?
And then you're also creating new unknown compounds.
We've already covered this, and
call me crazy.
This might be a little bit
big different.
Educational. Again, the traditional stuff. You take the plant with whatever is in it, which I would argue actually. I was just talking to a friend this morning. There's a certain degree of things that are natural, like truly natural, right? That means I get it out of the earth, right? I take my lettuce, that comes from the earth. Yeah, there are sprays on it, but let's say if I'm growing it, it's coming out of the earth. That's natural, okay? This here is natural. And I suspect truly the human body, no matter what you're dealing with, the traditional, natural, real stuff is going to be better for you, if I could use that term, than anything that is processed in a plant. But those early kratom products,
where are you going to get it at?
They were processed. They were solvent-based concentrates. And it's not still plant only. That's nonsense. Again, I put these up there across all of these because I want to point that out over and over again. It's not plant only. Okay, this is nonsense. There is a processing going on, and it increases the concentration per amount of stuff that you have. So it's easier to pack
whether or not
in a bottle,
to be called synthetic,
get more product
whatever,
out there that's not bulky. Whereas this is a different processing that purifies or gives you more yield than what was happening naturally anyway. So that doesn't make it any more unnatural this is important discussion because, out there now, I think one of the points we're trying to make is, 7-OH is not the real deal. They scammed us in the U.S. Come on, right? And what they did, figured out how to really get a higher yield of the thing that was, had a large abuse potential, addiction
By adding
potential, and so
chemicals,
forth.
bro.
Here's some examples, just so you understand. Opium poppy, right? It gets processed into morphine, right? And morphine is a natural derivative of opium poppy seed, right? It is a natural alkaloid in there, but it has to go through industrial processing to extract it. And then to take that next step, you get heroin, which is, now you can say, maybe that's natural or not natural, but none of this really matters, right? I'm just trying to get you to see the differences and create a sort of a conceptual framework to understand. Kratom, raw leaf, okay, that's like opium poppy. The earlier commercial products were also a processing.
Yeah, dude, I
event,
can't imagine
except
like
they increased the concentration or
listening
the
to
density
someone
in
just like
the amount
normal
you're holding in
speed.
your hand, so you don't have to have a whole branch or a
Schedule
tree in your
one.
hand. And it had the mitragynine, which eventually turns. It had the mitragynine and a little bit of 7-OH, so less than 0.6% or whatever it is, 0.06%, and then you had the mitragynine being converted in your liver into 7-OH at small amounts. They just figured out a different processing method that it gives you much higher yield of the 7-OH. That doesn't make 7-OH semi-synthetic in my mind, and make it so you can say, well, kratom is still good, 7-OH, they lied to us, and it's actually not a natural product, so kratom is okay to use. So, I'm talking about multiple issues going out there in public right now, and I hope people are catching on to that. That said, what I want you to take away is, let me get this on. What I want you to take away from this is my position on kratom.
He hates all kratom,
industrialized form, whether you're getting 7-OH, much more pure product of the 7-OH, or whether you're using the older products that were out there commercially, kratom, mitragynine. My position is the same, and please go watch the old videos. Nothing has changed. Really, what we're seeing is a validation of everything I've been saying. I've never, ever said that the alkaloids in these plants cannot be utilized in a beneficial way. Ever. What I've said is you should not leave it to commercial processing and commercial propaganda to sell this stuff out there at head shops and gas stations, because there is harmful side effects and abuse potential and addiction potential. Am I wrong? Well, that same industry took it, purified, and created higher yield of the 7-OH, and this stuff is having an impact. If you're going to tell me 7-OH isn't the problem, Coleman Institute on the East Coast, and for full disclosure, I partnered with them off and on over the years for their detox procedure, and I only say that just so
Dr. B360
says, "Oh, I'm in the pocket of some industry." So, for your information, when you should disclose it to the public. But I was talking to Jennifer from the Coleman Institute a couple of months ago, and she said for that month, and I don't remember when it was, 3 or 4 months ago, I think it was March, they had more people come in for 7-OH detoxes than fentanyl for the first time ever. And I myself have been.
I mean, that's because it's. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah,
years,
right.
That's not the only rehab.
So the takeaway from this is, call it what you want: food, natural, healthy product, something that's not in the control of the FDA and pharmaceutical industry. My position has always been, as a society driven by profit, for profit, the last place this stuff should be pushed is in commercial markets. I don't deny that there's beneficial uses of the extracts of alkaloids of this stuff, but I think it should be thoroughly studied and regulated. 2, if you're someone out there that used this product, whether it's the usual kratom or the 7-OH, if you've ever used it successfully and in a beneficial way, that's a meaningless argument to me, right? I'm sure there are people that have used it in that way and argue for its being not regulated, but that is not how data translates into regulation, right? Because there's so many people that are utilizing this stuff the wrong way, and under commercial licensing, food products, so forth, you start to get just nonsense propaganda out there to push as much as you can. And this is where government and regulation and big pharma comes in for all their limitations and fault and shortcomings. we have the potential
Really?
of having better management and outcomes
In
the
8
long run.
years.
Leave what your thoughts in the comments. I hope this was helpful. Give a like, subscribe. And
I can't tell you how
Definitely.
many of my videos got people off of the Suboxone that he loves to prescribe. Not necessarily him right off the bat, but because you can get Suboxone for anything now. You freaking get it freely on these telehealth things. You can get Suboxone and sell it. You can get Suboxone and divert it. You can get Suboxone and get high from it. This is what I heard.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't diss mat treatment. Don't nobody ever take it that way.
I mean, I believe in whatever works for you, like whatever gives you better quality of life, you know. But I mean, if you want off, if you feel trapped,
yeah, there's a way out, And if you feel trapped in 7-OH, there's a way out. What my commenters are doing is buying a lab tested metragenine extract, and then they take that the first couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and then they'll transition back or transition onto powder or transition back onto powder, because y'all would shit your pants if you knew how many veteran kratom consumers got tricked into believing that 7-OH was a kratom extract, a more potent form of kratom. And like the people that were in recovery or recovered from previous addictions, they have done a complete 360. They found kratom saved their life. Then they got onto the 7-OH and they're back at square one. That breaks my damn heart.
Yeah, I hate to see anybody struggling in life, especially, when they didn't really even know what they were getting into.
Yeah. It's like when this 7-OH was mass produced in 2023, the informed consent it was nowhere. You couldn't find it nowhere. You still can't find it nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm glad I didn't
oh yeah, Mr. P. Yep.
Because I mean, awful. And dude, I mean, especially when you're a pain patient, like you're fucking desperate. You'll do anything.
But so, that's the heartbreaker as well.
Yeah.
Is knowing how many CPPs have commented or messaged us to tell us that they were never addicted to their opioids before. But they are now addicted to 7-OH. They will not say dependent. They know the difference between dependency and addiction.
Well, and then, I can't tell you how many people have said it works so well, and then it just stops working for a decent amount of time, so they're having to redose every couple of hours. And I don't know, it's awful. I just hate, like I said, I hate to see anybody struggling. It bothers me.
Man. It's just, I don't know. Like I say, I've been on kratom for over 6 years now. I never thought that I would accidentally find my recovery pathway with whole leaf kratom. And then while I was navigating my recovery life, I never thought that I would have to be saving what's saving me.
Yeah.
And now that semi-synthetic 7-OH has been introduced into the market in 2023, I never thought I would have to doubly save what's saving me. That's what I'm pissed off about.
It's a constant battle every day.
Yeah. It's like, like I said, I freaking woke up at 6 o'clock this morning, got 3 hours of sleep. I wanted to watch we were going to live stream the Ohio Board of Pharmacy hearing, and it's like, kratom helped me, whole leaf kratom helped me find my life again. It breathed life back into me. But 90% of the time, I'm having to save it.
Yeah. It's just, it's sad. Yeah, exactly. The battle is never ending.
Yeah.
And it's like every day, it seems like it's something else, But like like I was telling Misty before, I'll till my dying breath.
Yeah.
Till my dying breath, I will never shut up. I'll never give up. I might have to take time off sometimes because my family comes first,
Mm-hmm.
but never will I stop because I know there's somebody out there just as fucking miserable as I was,
Yeah.
trying to drink their pain away or whatever. They could not have to like dread waking up every fucking day.
And I thought by me making my videos, I would be saving somebody like me, someone who's stuck in that whole, opiate addiction, benzo addiction, muscle relaxer addiction. I thought I would be saving somebody like that. But now it's like my videos have turned into saving somebody
Yeah.
from a 7-OH addiction. And it stole the name of kratom. And now we're having to freaking constantly differentiate between kratom and 7-OH. It is not the same.
No. And I mean, again, we're not for bans at all. But it's not the same thing. And, if 7-OH has helped you, improved your life, then get the hell out there and start showing up to hearings, reach out to legislators and tell your story. Don't sit around and fucking argue and blame the kratom community because you feel that it's our duty to advocate for something that's not safe.
It's not proven to be safe. There's over 500 studies proven kratom, and that gets me when these 7-OHers demand that I advocate with them or for them. No, I will not.
And it's like, well, we advocated for kratom over the years. It's like, yeah, for kratom. And, but it's like, at what point? I don't know. It's like the entitlement. I think that's where I'm getting at. I'm not good with words. But
the entitlement.
Like entitlement of because they perceive it that way, that, we should spend all of our time and energy.
Not happening.
And it's like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. That's not what's helping me every day. And I'm just not going to do it. Yeah. I don't see like we say all the time, when people try kratom, 90% of those people get their life back. 90% of those people have better lives. And with 7-OH, it seems like it's the complete opposite.
The opposite.
And it's heartbreaking.
And we know this by our advocacy efforts.
Yeah.
7-OH didn't save me. I'm not going to get up there and try to save it.
Right.
I don't have firsthand experience with it, but I have. It's got to be thousands now of commenters and or private messages from people where 7-OH done took them down a rabbit hole and now they're shackled. And it's like, God, that was me, an active addiction.
And I mean, even though they may not be spending, some people are spending fucking hundreds of dollars a day, but some people that aren't, they're still shackled. They're still stuck. And it sucks to be stuck in life, it does.
Yeah. But, whole leaf kratom is what broke me free. Whole leaf kratom was the key to the handcuffs that I was handcuffed to for 11 years straight, which were opiates, benzos, and muscle relaxers. And then I, temporarily went to doing cocaine, And
then, just for, I don't know, it's gotten to be just a downright nasty fight. People like I saw the other day on the Toledo hearing, people making fun of somebody because they were passionate about their testimony.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, why would you? First of all, if you were really passionate about 7-OH and it really changed your life, you would get that. You would understand that. But to make fun of somebody for being happy and thankful for getting their life back and having the fucking balls to stand up in front of all those people and legislators and tell their fucking story. Come on, dude.
It's
That's
not
just
easy.
it goes far beyond bullying.
Yeah,
You know?
it's not easy to stand up there doing the podium. You know, I've done it
No.
multiple times, and it's not easy. You know, and for the fact that somebody who claims to be a 7-OH advocate to make a video like that,
That's crazy. It's I don't know. It's disheartening.
like what is 7-OH really doing to your brain?
Yeah, it's like, were all these people already just assholes?
God.
Or, you know what I mean? If that's the case, I mean, dude, don't get me wrong. I know there's a lot of assholes out in this fucking world, but I don't know.
That right there really irked me when I saw that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I deal with the bullshit ass commenters over there on X. And you can't block people on X, so there's no point in blocking them. You know, I just let them keep commenting to boost my engagement. But you dealing with, if you putting up that stupid ass petty shit on my TikTok videos, you gone. I ain't got time for you. I ain't making no time for you. A 7-OH advocate. I ain't gonna name their name. I ain't giving them no clout.
They were making fun of somebody at the Toledo hearing because they were giving a passionate testimony.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, that's soulless. It's like, I understand. It's like, but why would you be so mad about that you would take all the time just to, I don't know. It's like, I just feel like there might be something else going on, because I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes I'm a fucking bitch when I got stuff going on in my life, but to just, it's petty.
Yeah.
It's petty. It's soulless. It's inhumane.
Like you're in the fight for your life to save 7-OH, but you want to drag somebody's kratom testimony down.
Yeah.
It's semi-synthetic. You know what? The thing
By
about
definition, yes.
Yeah.
Semi-synthetic, but I consider it synthetic. Personally, I always say synthetic because it's made from, it's, fucking hell. Sometimes
Metragenine.
The metragenine is isolated, and then they're using chemicals to convert it.
Yeah.
To, oxidize it into the 7-OH.
But I wanted to say, because how Dr. McCurdy talks about they could not identify the unknown compounds in it. That makes me wonder if it is fully synthetic.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, if there's been over 500 million doses done, like I said, there would be swaths of no kratom trees. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. That's true, though. I mean, that's true. I mean, who knows? And I mean, but he has said they've tested several hundred products or whatever. So,
but it really makes you wonder. And then, for us to sit back and think that these researchers have probably $1 million equipment to test products like this,
Yeah.
And it's like the fact that they can't identify the unknown compounds. And it's like, and then based on that MIT 45 video talking about it would take 9.5 kilos to extract 200 milligrams of 7-OH, right?
It was an insane amount, yeah.
Or 1 kilo would be 20 milligrams. It was something like that, Don't quote me on that, but it's something outrageous, like, wow. And then the other thing that I've seen is, a kilo of 7-OH is like $45,000. Like, what? A kilo of kratom is like 100.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I think it's unfortunate for people in all the communities, and it's unfortunate to people that haven't even come into the community.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate for everybody.
It really is. All for making a dime.
Yeah.
I will always say this, holy kratom is an exit from addiction. Semi-synthetic is an entrance into one. And if you're stuck in it right now, you don't see what we see as advocates.
Yeah.
And I can't help you there, I can't help you there.
But I mean,
We can
I don't
help you try to get off.
but I haven't seen not one person that, came from the kratom community that advocated for all those years out there advocating for 7-0.
Exactly.
Not one of them.
Exactly. Like you were a proud kratom advocate, but now you hide.
Why?
You hide behind what? You don't even say it. You don't even say it out loud to the public. What are you ashamed of?
Yeah, they're strong boys.
Oh, yep. You gotta go outside? My doggy gotta go outside.
Yeah. Were you ready to call it?
Yeah, we'll call it. That
All
was
right.
whatever.
B360. We'll have something more entertaining next time.
I'm just glad we didn't listen to it on normal speed.
Yeah, God, we'd all be asleep.
He got some points right and some points like, what?
Then he just backtracked on them.
Yeah.